Good afternoon, GUHSD Executive Committee. Today we're going to be talking about the FERPA, COPPA, and E-rate regulations that we need to apply if we're going to be successful in our 3-year rollout of devices on a 1-to-1 ratio. So the first thing we need to talk about is FERPA. So FERPA and GUHSD. So FERPA is the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. What that stands for is we have to make sure that families have complete access to their students, their son or daughter's educational portfolio, whether that is information on either directory information, whether that's name, picture, and general information, or it is their grades, their report cards, their address, anything like that. Those are all educational data, and that has to be protected. So we have to ensure that all students' information is safe. Parents or students have access to their student information. With the rollout of Infinite Campus, that's become our new student information system. Infinite Campus has checks and securities in there to make sure that students have access to their information at all times. We actually have had a great feedback loop from the students on their ability to access their grades from any computer. So that's really good. They have complete access to the gradebook on which teachers can update the grades. And also parents have access to that. But we need to make sure that the security is really updated and that in the intranet of GUHSD, we are making sure that students' information is completely safe. COPPA. So COPPA and GUHSD. I'm not really going to hit on this too much because COPPA is related to the Child Online Privacy Protection Act, and that is for information for the ages of under 13. So children who are under the age of 13, we cannot collect their data. Considering that all of our students are either 14 or 15 before they come into our district, we don't need to really worry about this. The main thing we'd have to worry about is our feeder schools going on to our internet, our webpage, and trying to enter the information, but mainly from the fact that our application process is set up where it has to be done by a parent. We don't really have to worry about COPPA at our school or our district because we're not collecting data from 13-year-olds. If we were including middle schools, then COPPA would be more of a regulation that we need to worry about. Considering our students are above age, this isn't really a problem for us, but still something we need to be aware of. Just make sure that we're not collecting data from under 13s. CIPA and E-rate. So CIPA is the Children's Internet Protection Act, and E-rate is the program that we're going to use to get funds for hardware. So whether that is for facilities to make sure that we have proper internet access, our hardware and software to provide internet access can come from that. Internet access itself, so whether that's wireless or whether that's bandwidth, that can also be paid for from E-rate, and telecommunications. So all three of these things, hardware, internet, and telecommunications, come from E-rate grants, and that's one thing that we really need to get. The good news is we're already doing this. So we already have filters in place and a bidding process in our district. So we've already been applying for E-rate grants and getting them because we installed the district policy, which is the filter. So one thing we need to do is make sure that we provide that same filter for all the students' devices when they're on our campus, and when they're using our devices, they need to be completely protected so students cannot access inappropriate content. So once again, E-rate is a program that allows for schools to purchase assets, as I've stated before, to support students to have access to the internet and other different forms of media. CIPA is a federal act that must be followed. So before we can even get these grants, like I said, we have to follow the CIPA grants, which are the district policy of internet protection, which is in place. So our next steps, we have a district filter already. Make sure that filter is applied to all the devices to our students. So anytime a student is using a device on our campus, they need to be completely protected from inappropriate content. With Infinite Campus that's rolled out, we've had a lot of reviews and a lot of feedback on students being able to access their information as well as parents being able to access information. So that's really good. We just need to make sure that as long as we're using Infinite Campus, that it is following FERPA guidelines to make sure that we are in compliance. If we're trying to recruit students from our feeder schools, we need to make sure not to collect their information from the website. Currently, we have a lot of recruiting from our feeder schools, our middle schools in our district, but the application process can only be filled out by an adult, so we're not actually collecting information on a 13-year-old, or the parent is providing, which is totally legal. So these are the guidelines that we need to make sure that we are following, which we are, so we're in compliance. With our one-to-one rollout, the only thing that's going to change is we have more access to the internet and more students have access, but the plans that we have in place are still going to be operable and going to work and make sure that we are still in compliance. That is a general overview. Thank you for listening. Glad we can move forward.